Okay, Chris Peaks back here today with Brandon Mosley for our weekly podcast, BCS State of Alabama. And I'm really proud of where we're heading here. It's getting a lot of views and a lot of hours. I guess that started, Brandon, when we brought people in who people would like to hear instead of, listening to
Yeah,
me
I
and
think
you.
people would rather see newsmakers than Brendan and Christopher.
Yeah, as valued
I
as
don't
what
know
our
why,
opinions
but they
are.
do.
So we got a young man here with us today who is 23 years old. He's a diesel mechanic from Heflin, Alabama, and he is going to be challenging Mike Rogers, the 11-term incumbent from the 3rd Congressional District, Draic Coakley. Draic, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So, Draic, tell me, man, what makes a 23-year-old guy want to go to Congress when you could be out chasing wild women and living it up in this time of your life?
Well, I don't know about chasing the wild women no more. I'm married and have a nearly 17-month-old son, so I'm happy
Okay,
there.
congratulations.
But yes, a great question. And when I first told my wife that I was planning to run, she was like, "Are you crazy? Why do you want to? Why do you want to ruin your life in Washington D.C. with politics? So, you have so much going for you right now. We got a small business. We're enjoying life. Riding four wheelers. Doing whatever." And I said, because I'm sick of seeing the same old politicians screw me over, screw America over, and screw Alabamians over. That's exactly what is happening. President Trump is in his 2nd term in office. And what is Congress doing? The same old thing they've been doing for years. Nothing. They are doing absolutely nothing. And they have proved this past week when 4 Republicans voted with Democrats to overturn Trump's golden age tariffs on Canada. It's mind boggling. And I'm just sick of working my butt off paying taxes and countless of taxes. You're taxed for this, taxed for that, you're taxed on everything. And I'm sick of the government not working for me.
So, Drake, if you get to Washington, what would be the first piece of legislation you'd introduce?
One of the first pieces of legislation that I think I'm going to introduce is term limits.
Okay.
Term limits. And I myself am going to pledge not to serve more than 6 2-year terms.
All right, Brandon, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, you're pledging to only do 12 years in Congress. So that means about the time you turn, 36, you'd be leaving Congress?
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Doesn't it take like 5 terms to like move up in seniority and be in position where you can actually move stuff?
And it may, depending on how many we can actually vote out of there that are career politicians now. Who knows? If we have a big movement, we can get all the ones out of there that already, quote unquote, have the seniority. Then I don't think it would take that long. But I'm not there to make a career out of this. I'm there to go up there, represent Alabamians, represent Americans, get the job done, have our voices heard, and leave. I'm not going to make a career out of this. I have no ambitions to be a career politician. My ambitions is to help President Trump make America great again, and doing so, we're going to make Alabama great again.
Drake, let me ask you a couple questions because this was brought to me here. When, in your opinion, was Alabama great, and for who?
I think back in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, and I say early 2000s, I mean like 2000, maybe 2001, when our factories were here. You had Gulf State Steel here making American steel. They left, 2000 or 2001. So many factories have left our great state. Alabama used to be the powerhouse for industries, gas, textiles. Huntsville used to be Rocket City. I wouldn't call it Rocket City anymore. But I think that's when Alabama was great. Back when we were a powerhouse, pumping out, materials out of factories and whatnot.
And you want to see
Uh,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
Thanks to Richard Shelby and Mike Rogers and Robert Adderholt, we got, kind of a lot of federal facilities here, including the new FBI facility at Redstone. Do you believe that the FBI should relocate 5,000 agents here and maybe its whole headquarters?
Well, that's not something I've really studied on too much. I would have to look into that and see what that could do for Alabama. So I would have to get back to you on that.
So, Drake, let me see if I'm following this. So, President Trump has a America First policy. You're going to try an Alabama First policy to try to benefit your district, and that in turn will help the whole state.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I have to, when, sorry, hold on, let me pause this. All right. Yeah, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, right. The farm
Oh,
bill.
sorry, cut. My
How
phone
do you,
cut out.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get the phone's breaking up. You said what now?
uh, the farm bill? They're right currently crafting a farm bill. Hopefully they're done before you get. We need to change about agriculture policy because there's a lot of farmers is still in Alabama.
Half the question just totally was staticky.
Oh, I apologize. I wish I'd been in my office. What is your view on the farm bill and how should we change agriculture policy, or do we need to change agriculture policy?
I think we definitely need to look after our farmers. The cost of fuel right now is just extraordinarily high. I work with farmers almost every day. They call me out. I put tractor tires on their tractors, their hay trailers. I do trailer tires for them all the time. And I talk to them about what's hurting most. I mean, the cost of fuel, the cost of grain, the cost of fertilizing materials, all that is what's hurting them when it comes to, I guess, someone that raises beef cattle. That's who most of the farmers around me are around here is all beef cattle farmers. And so that's who I work with most of the time.
Rick, you're a diesel mechanic. Do you think that, but you seem very educated in the Constitution. Can you explain what you was saying a while ago about following instructions? Because that was such a great statement you made.
Yeah, so as a diesel mechanic, anytime I work on a truck or put, for instance, a fuse panel box in a truck, so you got to follow the instructions and make sure it's done correctly, or the truck is not going to function correctly. Same thing with our Constitution. Our founding fathers wrote out the Constitution. The Constitution is a set of rules and boundaries for the government to follow. If the government does not follow those instructions, then our government will not function correctly.
And when do you think they stopped following the Constitution? I mean, has this been something that's over, last 30 years or
gone on for, I couldn't give you an exact date, time, when, where, but this is something that's been going on for a very long time before I was born. I was born in 2001, just a few months before 9/11.
God.
Yeah. But that's another thing is I'm sick of these career politicians that are in their 80s and 90s. And by the way, most of them are dying in Congress. They're not even getting voted out. A lot of them are sitting there dying or retiring in Congress. They're making decisions that later on my generation is going to have to pay for. We're going to have to come up with the answers for. And I think we need to have people in my generation start getting into politics and start being elected into these positions.
We're currently $35 trillion in debt. I think the Doge made a couple $100 billion in cuts, and everybody, even a few Republicans, kind of went hysterical. We kind of need to cut a lot more deeply with the $2 trillion a year deficit. How would you, even balance the budget, much less pay down the debt?
Well, that's a very good question. Well, balancing the budget, we're going to have to knock out a lot. I mean, if I ran my business and my household income the way the government runs theirs, I would be homeless, truckless. I wouldn't even be able to own a box. I couldn't even put my name on a cardboard box. So there's definitely a lot of wasteful spending that's going on, and it's been going on for many years. I mean, $15,000 for a coffee cup. Come on, it's gotten out of hand. And so I think that's the first thing that we're going to have to look at in balancing the budget is getting rid of all the fraud, waste, and abuse in the government, which is what Elon Musk and Doge is doing a fantastic job on.
Your opponent has been the House Armed Services Committee chairman, which he is currently. He's been the Homeland Security chairman. Are you concerned that if we go from a veteran, committee chairman to a freshman Republican, that especially with us downsizing the budget, that could actually hurt Alabama because we don't have the same influence when, they craft that next budget.
Right. No, I'm not concerned with that at all. Alabama is already hurting. How are we hurting? Because we have members that, like you said, is on the Armed Services Committee. But let me tell you a little bit about that real quick. So think about it like this: you're on the Armed Services Committee. You're writing the government contracts, authorizing and writing in the government contracts for these war industry contractors. Correct? So these war industry contractors are donating to you. Well, you give them the contract after they donated so many billion or millions of dollars to your campaign, or do you, you know how they funnel money back in. So what you have is basically taxpayers' money is going to fund them for their projects or whatnot, and then they're turning around and funneling the money back to the members of Congress. So I think Alabama's already in deep trouble, and we're already hurting there. I have not found one Alabamian that I've talked to so far that supported funding for proxy wars over in Ukraine. Not one that I've spoke to yet has supported that. So Alabama's already hurting there.
Are you concerned that if we don't support Ukraine and that if Russia ultimately wins their current war with Ukraine, that ultimately your generation, me and Christopher are too old to go over there, will have to go fight World War III in Europe to keep Russia from rolling into Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and our other NATO allies?
No, I am not concerned about that at all. We've got to have a strong representation that sends a clear message to Russia. And right now we do not have that. That is why, I mean, look at the failed Biden administration. The Biden administration is the reason Russia invaded Ukraine. A failed, weak representative in the White House. The reason. Uh-oh.
You still there, Draic?
I'm here. I think he actually got kicked off.
Brandon may have got kicked off there. Let's see.
Service.
Okay, so I'll just ask you a couple more questions here because I think I told your campaign manager yesterday, told us how long the interview is. I'll cut this part out. But socially, I mean, we've seen such a movement of protecting 0.6% of the population with this trans stuff. Is there a way to end this? I mean, we have to get this back. I mean, we've seen stuff go back to the states, like with abortion. Or is that what we need to do, like that and the gay marriage stuff? I mean, because it's like we're becoming an immoral society, in my opinion. And I don't care who says that. That's just, that's the way I look at it.
So you're asking me the question one more time because the phone is
Yeah,
a little
I
static.
I probably didn't ask that in a great way. Sometimes I get talking too fast, but
Good.
We've seen a move back to the states with the 10th Amendment, like with abortion, because there's nothing in the Constitution that says, hey, a woman has a right to go have an abortion. But now we've seen like gay marriage come out here, and then now we've seen this movement with transsexuals. Do we need to get the federal government out of this and get it back to the states? Because we're becoming an immoral society, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And a perfect example is what goes on in California is not going to go on here in Alabama. Alabama is not California, therefore we should not be forced to hold the same beliefs as California.
Excellent question or excellent answer. And Draic, let me ask you one more, man, on a couple lighter notes here. Have you always been involved? I mean, interested in politics as a young age, or what's piqued your interest?
Well, sort of yay and nay. Really what piqued my interest was Donald Trump in 2015. And mind you, when I first ran for president, I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And he just piqued my interest. I was listening to him talk, and I'm like, geez, he's saying things that I thought that if I said, people would just literally come after me and attack me, even as a middle schooler. I mean, I'm like, this dude is saying what me and my friends say, when we're all hanging out talking privately amongst each other. This dude actually gets it. And I think that's someone that, young Americans are going to resonate with. And so as his first campaign went on and on and on, I just fell deeper, more in deep support of him. And actually my 16th birthday? Was it my 16th birthday cake was actually a Trump cake. And I've actually got a picture. But yeah, I was heavy on Trump. I got called a bigot, a racist, everything you could be called in school by a very small minority. But I mean, I can even go back and ask my was it my 8th grade history teacher every day. I was like, "How's Trump doing?" He was more of a Ted Cruz fan, but he liked Trump as well. But every day I was telling him, "You better vote for Trump. You know, get Trump in. We got to have an outsider. Vote for Trump." But I was telling him in the primary, "Go vote for Trump. Vote for Trump." Everyone I seen, I told them vote for Trump because I could not vote then. But I made sure everyone I came in contact with that was able to vote knew to vote for Donald Trump.
So, you said, you said something about your friends talking in private. So, I feel that too. We no longer have to be quiet, and feel like that we're being, we're not a racist, we're not sexist, we're not bigots. This is just about doing the right thing. So let me ask this right here. So you mentioned your wife a while ago telling you was crazy. Did you have to ask, get her go ahead to run, Miss Coakley, or did?
Well, it wasn't really. Well, it's not that she was telling me not to. It was just, she's making sure it's what I wanted to do, and everything. And I said, well, it's not that I'm wanting to do this for a career. I love what I'm doing now. I make my own schedule. I work on trucks. To me, it's just so peaceful. Work on an 18-wheeler, even on the side of I-20, when especially no one gets over nowadays for anyone on the shoulder. But to me, just working on trucks is so peaceful. And when I'm working on them, I get to thinking, my mind goes a million places, start thinking of, what's going on and everything. And like I said, last February when I started looking into it, because I was researching all 3 candidates in obviously CD3's congressional race. And I said, let's see if one of those don't get in, one of the outsiders don't get in and beat Rogers. I said I might take a swing at it in 26. I said because I'm just so sick of seeing what's going on. I took a look at Rogers' voting record, and I'm just not impressed. And I'm 100% sure he did not come down. He did not march himself down here to Alabama and ask any of his conservatives if they supported money for Ukraine. Because I guarantee you, all of us would have told him no. So
Any more questions?
we're not.
sorry.
Alabama is not being represented. Let me make that clear right now. Alabama is not being represented right now. We haven't had a town hall in 8 years.
8 years. Wow.
Even if Democrats crowd out the town hall, why are you going to cower down to the Democrats? You should never cower down to the Democrats for town halls or anything for that matter. The Democrats are not credible. They have proved that time and time again, especially the past 4 years from 2020 all the way up to 24. They are not credible. So I don't know why you're so scared to face them. I'm actually looking forward to face the Democrats. I think it's going to be fun seeing them just, fall apart like they're doing now. I mean, President Trump is on he's a fireball on a spree. And I love watching it every day.
I do too. Brandon, you got any more questions for this young man?
As a diesel mechanic, you work with a lot of farmers and truckers and I guess construction people. After 2030, under rules that the Biden administration implemented, we're going to have to phase out all of our gasoline and diesel and internal combustion engines and go to electric. Do you think we're ready to make that kind of transition? Are we still going to be able to get the logs harvested, the hay bale, the crops harvested and sent to town with the new electric trucks?
Absolutely not. We don't even have the infrastructure for that, first of all. So that little mandate that they came up with, that will never happen. At least in my generation, I don't think it'll ever happen. We don't have the infrastructure. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I watched this guy on YouTube, and he has a Tesla Cybertruck. And I mean, it'll say 400 miles range, but once he hooks something up to it, towing, and if it's 30 degrees outside, he's actually going to get like 150 miles range. These trailers are loaded down with products going cross country. I don't think we will see that in my generation, electric trucks per se. You can't just kick out the diesel trucks and the gasoline vehicles. And you got to look from my perspective too. I have a Ford F-250, 2018. It is a gasser. It has a 6.2 liter gas V8 in it. And days that I'm working nonstop, I mean, I'll go through a full tank, and mind you, that tank's 48 gallons. So I'm doing like $120 worth of gasoline a day. Some days that I'm running nonstop Atlanta to Birmingham, because that's my service area. I service Atlanta to Birmingham 24/7, 365 days a week. As long as the companies are willing to pay, I'm there. But I cannot do that. You know, I wouldn't mind owning a Tesla Cybertruck. But you know, because I love Elon Musk, but it's not feasible. I would be stranded. I would end up running out of range on those. I mean, it's just the technology's not there and the infrastructure's not there. You know, I guess if you live in the middle of the city and have to commute, you know, 4 or 5 miles to work, and you get there and you plug it in there and you plug it in at home, that's not going to work. And that's another thing. When I go to Florida for vacation to visit the beautiful Gulf of America, I don't want to have to stop and charge my vehicle every 150, 200 miles. You know, it takes you, what, 5 to 10 minutes to fill up with gas. While you're filling up, go inside, get you a Coca-Cola and a hamburger from the gas station. No, if you're in an electric vehicle, you're going to have to sit there for hours on end. I mean, who wants to do that? That's no fun. By the time you get to the beach, your stay's going to be over. They're going to tell you, I'm sorry, you missed your check-in date.
Draic, man, you're very knowledgeable to be such a young guy. Thanks for coming on today. Good luck in your race, and let's keep in touch.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm learning every day. It's amazing what's happening. I'm talking to more and more people every day around the district. They know what's going on. They see what's going on, and I hope to earn everyone's support. That's why I have started so early. I've done research on this district, on who's ran in the past. I think it's safe to say I'm the first to ever announce this early in CD3. But hey, listen, we've got our first rally is coming up in May. It's going to be on Saturday, May the 10th, from noon. It starts at high noon, 12 o'clock. It'll go till 3 or 4. I invite everyone out to that. I need everyone to RSVP at DraicCoakleyForCongress.com. We are also seeking as many volunteers as we can get. We want to pack this event out. If you've ever been to a Trump rally, it's going to be basically the same thing, except unfortunately Donald Trump will not be there. He's busy up in Washington fighting all the bureaucrats in the swamp. But we're going to have music, we're going to have refreshments, speakers, and it's just going to be a fun, real nice get together. I'll be there. I want to meet and greet everyone I can, talk to everyone, hear everyone's concerns and questions. I'll be more than happy to take as many questions as I can. And I look forward to hosting town halls again. Our district has to see town halls again. I don't see how our current representative can even call himself a representative, because there hadn't been a town hall in like I said, 8 years. And that's way too long. And I don't know why these Republicans all over the country aren't coming home and facing their constituents. You know, it's not hard to answer their questions, answer them truthfully. I can't stand when a politician is asked a question and they start carrying on about something totally different. They don't even answer the question. I can say yes or no question. You either support this or you don't support it. Why are you going to beat around the bush? Be proud about who you are and what you support. And that's just something else I'm sick of. I'm a, you know, I guess you could call me a good old boy, straight to the point type deal. I'll tell you if I hate it or I love it. But like I said, our rally is going to be Saturday, May the 10th, high noon. If you want the address, I need you to RSVP at DraicCoakleyForCongress.com.
Thank you so much for coming on, Draic.
Hey, I look forward to talking to y'all again pretty soon.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, bye.